Have you ever wondered how you can make your AI produce generally good designs, whether it's HTML, websites, or whatever you're doing? Well, in this video, I'm going to go through the 6 different skills that I'm using to create what I think is unbelievably good designs purely generated through AI. Now, of course, I'm not saying that they are world class and it will replace humans, but this is getting dangerously close and has been a massive value add for all of my agents. Primarily because of the design systems and making it stay on par with my company Triggerfy's brand and design, so it feels like something that my marketing team would produce. So let's dive into the 6 different skills. Before we do that, I want to go over what we're typically getting with AI and what we're going to get hopefully instead. So you probably would have seen a lot of the AI that produces is typical highlights of certain boxes, certain radiuses, certain fonts that are used. There's this kind of like a fake browser, kind of Chrome with dots everywhere, testimonial metrics. It's very same. Whereas what we're wanting to get instead is we're going to get 21 distinct macro structures to rotate through. So that's basically we're going to provide examples of structures, so it's not just set in stone. We're going to have 22 named themes with axis diversification as well. So again, this is all providing it. We're going to provide it with a lot more examples to open up its design capabilities. We're going to give it certain skills to follow a design composition. So what I mean by that is certain color gradings, highlights, what it needs to follow, how it should follow that as well, and how we can create a level of memory to prevent repetition. And lastly, how we can then actually do what we call like the slop test at the end. So this is the skill stack that I use, and I use all skills in tandem, and my agents, whether that's Claude or Hermes or whatever you're using. Typically I use Hermes for a lot of this. Hermes is the orchestrator. It routes it through Claude and then looks over what what Claude has done, and then gives it some feedback until Hermes is basically happy. But the first thing is Google's open spec. So they open sourced a thing called DESIGN.md. And I'm going to put all of the links into a doc. So if you want that, let me know. I will share the DESIGN.md plus all the skills with you as well, so you don't have to go searching for these things. But Google, off the back of their, I think it's Snitch or Stitch, I can't remember the tool that they did for design, which is very similar to Claude Design. They actually open spec'd this kind of design memory system for AI. And in here, you can basically upload your color schemes. So you can use different tools if you're just starting the journey to help work out what is your design system that you should be using. Maybe you're more of an established company and you've worked with a graphic designer in the past and you have that. All you need to do is basically go ahead and upload that into here. And it's going to basically start to give you the, or follow the design functionality for you. So you can see here, we were also then providing it with skill number 2 with 54 real design systems extracted from production sites. So what we're doing is we've uploaded examples from Stripe, Spotify, Airbnb, Linear, Supabase, so on and so on. All of these kind of really well thought out companies that have had great and probably God knows how much money they spent on their design systems. We're going to use that as reference points for the AI to follow when it comes to structuring everything. Then with skill 3, we're using a open sourced skill essentially, which is marked the anti-slop engine called Hallmark. And this is really, really powerful. If you're going to use any of them, this is the one that you probably want to use. This has great kind of context to inject into your agent system. So it injects it with 21 macro structures, which is really cool. And then 22 different themes, different axes as well. We've got like paper, display, accent, and it will kind of like rotate essentially through them, which is pretty cool. With this, it also has an anti-slop built in. So once it produces something, it calls this skill and will detect if it's kind of defaulted back to something that it typically does as well. It's never perfect. You will get things that creep through, but the idea is it keeps iterating until it feels like the design has moved away from the typical AI intricacies and given you something that is generally human proofed in the sense of a human could have made that and that's what it would pass as. From there, we then also have obviously Claude design systems. So here we are actually using this one. We don't use every single time, but here I will use the agents that will actually power and control through browser use, Claude Design. So if they don't want to use the other skills and kind of create their own kind of custom HTML page, and maybe they want to go through Claude Design, then they have this capability to do that as well. Typically, this isn't called on every single time. 9 times out of 10, we're doing everything self as well. And then we have this sketch. So before committing to any direction, we're going to generate 2 to 3 throwaway HTML files, different layouts, different density, different tone. And I essentially pick which direction that we want to go in. So think of it like a graphic designer or a UI UX individual comes up with a couple of ideas. It then basically says, hey, which kind of direction do you want to go down? And then from that point, I say, I really like option A. It's then going to start and build that out into a more fully fledged kind of prototype. And then lastly is the Humanizer skill. So you've probably all seen this Humanizer skill, but this is starting to try and, you can see here, it's giving like the examples with M dashes and things like that. This is where it starts to take the copywriting element and obviously starts to try and humanize it to a certain degree. So again, typical intricacies that AI will kind of bake in. M dashes really isn't the one anymore. Like a lot of it now is full stop statement. Like that's kind of like a big pattern with AI. So again, Humanizer allows us to try and eradicate elements of that and just make what we're producing to be a little bit better. And this is how they then compose all together, and we can see how it kind of goes through this kind of systematic workflow. So it starts with a brief, does the pre-flight scan, then we go into the design context. It asks 3 things: audience, use case, tone, or infers them. It picks the theme, it loads the design, it previews it builds it, it does the slop test. It then uses vision, so it takes like screenshots and basically analyzes how good it is. It reiterates until it comes back to something that it's happy with. And that effectively is like the essential slop test that we're trying to do, which is this last part. It's got to pass those gates and do the vision component. So it kind of loops back and forth on each other until you have something that is incredibly powerful. Now, I'm going to do another video on this another time, but I've started using this massively for explaining things. Obviously, we've kind of done it to a degree here today, but I've been using it for follow-ups to sales calls. So I take my call recording notes that we got from the call, and I go to my Hermes agent, or you can go to your Claude Code, and you can say, hey, draft me up using all the design skills, a HTML, which explains exactly what we're going through, how they could get more value out of us, and let's build something personal. And then it just hosts it on a Vercel link, and then I send it away. Like, I think gone are the days of crappy generic PowerPoints. This is generally the future for kind of custom value tidbits that you want to provide to people, or just to understand, how was the code made, anything like that. Just simple kind of explainers that puts a little bit of visualization on top of something that's potentially quite hard to visualize.